Go back to the YouTube.
Okay, can you hear us now? Probably would. Hi guys, we won't be too long. We're just about to start in a couple of minutes. Welcome to the meeting of the NT chapter. And
that we might get strike.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. That is live. You can't be live.
It's live right now on YouTube. Fine, yeah.
Yeah, just want to make sure we won't get strike.
Sound on. Yep.
Yep.
100 sound on. Yeah.
sound's gone.
Sounds on. It's okay. It's just,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all. I was muted.
Yeah.
All right, so you're here. Now, are you muted?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause you're-
Are we ready to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yep, no, give it a go.
You got a duct tape?
You got black tape.
No, you don't have duct tape.
What do you need? I don't know where your black tape is. Yeah, black tape. What do you need?
No, like because it's running like fucking cable through like one. I'll go and go. So just
You need that too? You need two? Batteries. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, about 1 minute, we'll start. 1 minute, we're going to come take a seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your seats.
So you can click it.
That's one way to get your attention.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm Irish, so if I speak too fast, just tell me to slow down, all right?
Slow down, Ricky.
I'm gonna say everything 3 times to be sure, to be sure, to be sure. All right. Right. Look at this, the wee script. So we're almost ready to go, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that us? First of all, can we turn down the bass just a wee bit? We're on. And we're also streaming live as well on YouTube and Zoom. So first of all, thank you for coming here today. It's a very special occasion for the Northern Territory and electric vehicles right across Australia. My name is Ricky, and we're going to give you a bit of an idea of what's going to be happening over the next hour or so. But first of all, we'd like to welcome Mike from CVU. So whereabouts is Mike? Mike, you have to tell me, please give me a picture of Mike. So Mike, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're head of the TAFE department, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So Pro Vice Chancellor and Chief Executive of TAFE. They couldn't afford a full-size manager, so they put me on. Right. So, but I do want to welcome everybody here to our campus here at Casuarina. This building here is for our electro technology, plumbing, and refrigeration. But today it's all about electric vehicles. I'll kick off by acknowledging that this campus is on Larrakia land and pay respects to the traditional owners and their elders past and present. Thanks so much for coming along, everyone, and for the Electric Vehicle Association of the North of Australia, and for the launch of the NT chapter of that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. So my name is Ricky, and I'll be your MC for this afternoon's very special event. Today is the official launch of AEVA Northern Territory chapter. So before we begin, we'd like to thank a couple of our dignitaries here today. They include Kota Patel, MLA, member for Casuarina. I was talking to him a few moments ago. He's got the best seats in the house. Big cheer please for Kota. Thank you for being here tonight. And I think somewhere we also have Sharon Young, the MLA, Deputy Leader of the Opposition. I think we're here somewhere. Also to Luke Gosling, who'll be here very soon, Federal Member for Solomon, and Minister Robin Cahill, OAM, MLA AEI member for the Port of Darwin. So thank you for all our dignitaries being here today. Yes. Okay, no worries, no worries. They could be watching us on the live feed, couldn't they? They probably are watching the live feed on YouTube. Okay, there you go. So apologies from Robin. Just a couple of formalities. The housekeeping, as they call it, the toilets are directly over there. See that guy with the green t-shirt on? He's going to be there all night, and he'll be directing you to the toilets, just in case you have too many wines. And in the unlikely event of an emergency, please just basically run through these double doors, okay? Well, don't run. Just walk as fast as you can. That's in the unlikely event. We have Louise here, who's, you need her to be your favorite person today. Please do at any stage, even whenever I'm talking, during any presentation, the bar shall remain open at all times, all right? So we've got red wine, we've got white wine, we've got soft drinks such as cola and other drinks as well, lemonade and water as well. So please help yourselves. We've also got beer and light beer as well. Quick thank you to some of our sponsors for making this event possible, really making today happen. Thank you to our hosts today, where we are right now, Charles Darwin University, our generous hosts, DB Catering for the delicious bites. Thank you, DB Catering, and also Rent Events for setting the stage. Where's the stage?
Don't trip over.
I'm tall enough. And also Orbis Wines. So Orbis Wines are a pretty new company. They're local here in Australia. They run a sustainable, organic and zero carbon winery. Now they're from McLaren Vale. They have a fleet of 5 EVs, and get this, an EV tractor as well. So you can see Louise today for your wine, complimentary drinks as well. And of course, a big thank you to our host here today, Charles Darwin University. So we have a couple of speakers coming up over the next 45 minutes. We've told them to keep the speeches short and sharp. So whenever Hunter is on, we've told him to keep it to at least 10 minutes because he's got a habit to ramble on, all right? A special mention to Hunter. He is a business owner in Alice Springs. He owns about 10 Teslas. And
5 by 5.
you've got 3 Teslas? You own two Teslas?
But we have a fleet of 5
A fleet of 5.
EVs and one new one coming.
Fantastic. Is it going to be a Cybertruck?
Let's put an F in front of it.
Okay.
Ford.
We love it. Ford at the moment.
What a Ford.
A Ford. It's going to be an EV, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. So a big thank you to Hunter. He's helped us do this amazing setup today. And also he traveled away from Alice Springs. So can we please give Hunter a big round of applause?
Nothing.
He's officially our
I cheated, I got on a plane, okay? I didn't drive.
He didn't drive. Well, we appreciate you being here
Thank you,
today, mate. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Officially our furthest away person today. So now it gives me great honour to please welcome the chair of the AEVA NT chapter, Mr. Randall Jones. So Randall's going to share our vision, how the NT chapter came together and what's ahead for EVs in the top end. Please welcome Randall Jones.
Thanks, Ricky. Is that working okay? Everyone can hear me fine? Good. So yeah, good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very special occasion actually for the AEVA NT chapter. We are absolutely delighted to be to have launched our new chapter. The NT was actually the last state or territory to have its own branch of AEVA, but we're stoked now that we've got we've got this covered. Now I've got to work out what I'm doing here.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. So what I want to do is just tell you a little bit about AEVA and our vision and our mission. So it won't take too long. So AEVA stands for the Australian Electric Vehicle Association. It was founded in 1973, and it is the longest continuously running EV society in the world, which I didn't actually know this until about a week ago, but that is that's a feather in our cap, I think, for Australia. There's now approximately 1,700 members. We represent all EV consumers, users and enthusiasts. We're a friendly community organisation where anyone can learn about EVs, and we're a 100% volunteer-run, not-for-profit organisation. So we are very proud of the fact that you know, we're active in the community, and we are very keen to support the EV community, and especially new EV users. The vision for AEVA, that the Australian Electric Vehicle Association is widely recognised as Australia's leading consumer advocacy group in the pursuit of full electrification of transport. And our mission is to accelerate the transition of Australian transport networks to electric drive as quickly as possible. We represent the interests of the Australian public who drive and ride in and on electric vehicles. We convey the needs of EV consumers and end users of the technology to governments. And we develop evidence-based policy, which is financially and environmentally responsible and socially equitable. There was quite a bit of work done in recent years to well, there's a lot of emphasis in making sure that if we are advocating for policy, that it is evidence-based, and we've got you know, got the statistics to back it up. Now, our motivations, values, and philosophy. The Australian Electric Vehicle Association is motivated by our understanding that the transition to electric transport will bring significant benefits in public health, end Australia's dependence on imported fossil fuels, and address the worsening impact of climate change by reducing transport emissions. We are active in arranging workshops and field trips, webinars, drive days. We have a lot of meets which are generally put together by Joseph Chin here, who's holding the camera. A little bit more about Joseph in a minute. But we try to be active with regular activities for the community. And I love this slide, actually. When I joined AEVA and I found out about the values, there's just 3 of them. Be professional, be truthful, and be kind. And I love those 3 things. They kind of, you know, I certainly keep them close to heart when representing AEVA. And just one more slide on strategy. Just recently, I think late last year, the AEVA board came up with 5 bullet points that we were keen to, I guess, promote or raise as topics of interest in leading up to the federal election. So we want to maintain the integrity and the scope of the new vehicle efficiency standards, ensure any road user charge scheme is universal and includes vehicle mass, invest in abundant, reliable and appropriate EV charging infrastructure, and Hunter will talk a little bit more about that later. Invest heavily in electrified rail and support electric heavy goods vehicles, and harmonised right to charge legislation for homes and workplaces in Strata. And we represent not just cars, or not just vehicles. If it moves, it can move with electricity. Now, a little bit about the branch formation itself. The NT, up until the middle of last year, was previously part of a combined SA-NT branch. In May last year, we had a special general meeting of the SA-NT branch, and it was resolved unanimously to proceed with the establishment of an independent NT branch. And as I mentioned before, that kind of closed the loop on having a branch or a chapter in each state and territory. And then in June 2000 or June last year, the National Board ratified and approved the establishment of the NT branch, and we were off and running from the 1st of July last year. We had our first AGM in October, and then we were actually keen to kind of run straight into a launch event last year, but we just felt that it was getting towards the end of the year, the wet season was approaching, and you know, we're aware that some people leave Darwin over that period. So we decided to postpone the actual launch event until the first quarter this year, and here we are. And I just want to introduce the branch committee. So Hunter Murray, as I mentioned before, is standing over here to my right, in your left, in the blue shirt, and Hunter is the deputy chair and has actually made a special trip up from Alice Springs up to Darwin to be with us today, and that's hugely appreciated, Hunter. Now Joseph Chin, who is over here. Joseph is like the glue that holds us all together. You know, there's a myriad of things that Joseph does. His title is the secretary for our NT branch, but it's really Joseph's passion, his energy, and he puts in an enormous amount of time just binding us all together and creating a lot of really interesting meet and greets and events. Shannon Hosking is our treasurer. He's also based in Alice Springs. Unfortunately, Shannon couldn't be with us today. I guess it's just a reflection of the NT, really. You know, we've got a couple of different centres, so we couldn't get everybody from all over the NT to be with us here today. Sandy Sy, I don't know, is Sandy's at the back here in the grey shirt. John Garland, who is also from Alice Springs. Jasper, who is here somewhere. Yep. So Jasper's from Catherine, actually. Yeah. And has made the trip up. And Ewan. Thanks, Ewan, for putting your hand up. And Ewan has got a coffee machine plugged into a vehicle to load. Right. So if anyone wants a coffee, it is right up near the entrance, as well as some food, which will be, you know, we're having some refreshments later on. And the plans for the next 12 months, at the moment, we're about 35 members. I don't know whether that's changed, Joseph, but we'd like to get to 100 in 12 months if we can. We're keen to have a deeper relationship with vehicle dealerships and to create some AEVA kind of introduction packs for EVs that are sold through the car dealerships. Develop membership meets and events. We want to be you know, we want to advocate to government and other bodies. And we're here to provide community support for new EV owners in the NT. Now, I do just want to touch on a couple of things, because I think the NT is unique when we think about Australia. We have sunshine all year round. Our solar power is abundant, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I've got a solar array at home. The whole house is powered from that. I've got a home battery, but I also charge my EV purely from the solar system on the roof of the house. So I never have to pay for any kind of fuel source. I don't generally go to, you know, external charges, although I have driven the vehicle from Melbourne up to Darwin, and so, you know, I'm familiar with how to utilise the charging network. But when I'm in Darwin and using my vehicle, it's all done at home, and it's all done via solar. And the exciting thing that is now just hitting the market is what's called V2H. There are other variations on that. V2H stands for vehicle to home. There's vehicle to load and vehicle to grid. But basically, electric vehicles, which are essentially batteries on wheels, are coming now with the capability to power up your home or a coffee machine, or to send power back to the grid. And these vehicles are hitting the Australian market at the moment. There is a Nissan Leaf 2, which has that capability. There is a Cupra, which is manufactured by, I think, Volkswagen. But there will be a swathe of vehicles now hitting the market, which will have this capability. And what that means is that if you have a vehicle, you can use the battery in your vehicle to power your home overnight. And if you do what I do and charge that vehicle by the sun during the day, then so you're kind of getting 2 for 1. Instead of having to buy a car and a home battery, your car can actually do both of those things. And the extra added benefit is that, particularly up here in Darwin, where we have the cyclonic activity, is that EVs with this vehicle to home or vehicle to load or vehicle to grid capability can be used as emergency power vehicles. So, if we have the grid down and we have some essential services that need some power, we can simply drive the EVs to those locations, whether they're a home or a commercial facility or whatever, and we can provide power. We can provide backup power. Obviously, it's quantified. We've still got the battery will run out, but it is a good. I think that's a considerable benefit of having EVs up in the ENT. In addition to the fact that these vehicles can now provide a battery for your home. So that's me done. I'm going to hand over to Hunter now. Hunter's speech, I think, is going to be a little bit more technical, and there's a bit of a humorous start to it as well. So anyway, over to you, Hunter.
Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Got my clicker. So I really wanted to that point there. How's that sound? Good. Sound good? Okay. So I wanted to go across a bit of history of electric vehicles, and you might think actually in the last couple of years that these things have come along. You actually want to look at about 100 years when they first come out, and basically there was actually more EVs 100 years ago than there was combustion engines. Would you like to believe that? Let me show you. Well, first of all, we actually go through the history of the horse and cart. So on the left there is an Easter photo back in the 1900s. This one. Back in the 1900s. Easter parade, they call it. And basically there was one combustion vehicle in that photo on the left, and you can see it there circled. And on the right there, 13 years later, there was one horse and cart. Okay. So in 13 years, we had a big shift from horse and cart to combustion vehicles. And we can see how quickly this type of move could change. And at the time, there was actually a fight with combustion vehicles with steam, of all things, and electric vehicles back in the day. Obviously, lead acid batteries back in those days. And for a while there in New York, because they had a power system back then, electric vehicles were right up there. They were using for taxis and all sorts of stuff. So is it a new phenomenon? Not really. We've been through a few cycles of this. There's 1884, Thomas Park with electric. Obviously, the old horse and cart type thing. 1904 and 1909. You might recognise that gentleman driving that one there. He has a collection of these as well. Over in, I'm just going to catch up, in the mid 1950s, we had the horse and cart, milk carts, of course. So again, electric, nice and quiet to go around in 5 o'clock in the morning when we're dropping off the milk around the place. Deutsche Post, a thing called the kilowatt, back in 1961, and there was a thing in the US, they called it CARB, where they were trying to get ultra efficient vehicles to try and cut down their smog emissions, and this was one that they had in California. I don't think I'd be driving that one. So, so how are they different today from the early EVs? Obviously, the technology's come a long way. So we've got definitely the batteries have come a long way. The electronics are much more robust and almost have no maintenance at all. I'm going to go back here. The motor assemblies are much more stronger. We've got very few moving parts, and basically there's only really one gear. So the gearbox, because we have a 100% torque at 0 RPM right up to 16,000 RPM, don't need a gearbox, just a quick reduction gear. And there is few German vehicles that like 2 gears, the Porsches in particular, just to get that bit more top end. But yeah, there basically is, instead of maybe 500 or 600 moving parts, there's now about 30 moving parts. So they're just less maintenance. I won't say there's no maintenance, there's just a lot less maintenance. Oil changes being the one thing, but there's still a little bit of oil in them. They're usually synthetic. But yeah, basically, we're getting to a point now that they, a minor maintenance might be like 100,000 kilometres. So, so a bit of a running cost, petrol versus EVs. Really, it's about 1/5 of the cost of petrol versus EVs, just in running costs, not even actually including the services. Don't know why that's clicking twice ahead. That's kind of doing my head in, but anyway, we'll keep going. I'll just have a quick look here. So, yeah, petrol sedans were pretty high back then. Electric sedans, you can see the figures there, but about 1/5 of the costs of things. So, like, you know, we've had little generations of stuff over the years, like LPG and stuff like that, where you maybe have half or a quarter, but these are substantially cheaper to run because of their efficiency. And that's really actually the big one. It's the efficiency of being like 92 to 95% efficient compared to an ICE engine, internal combustion engine, being between, say, 30 to 35% efficient on the good end of the day. So there's your 3 or 4 times straight away more efficient. And then just the cost of electricity to be reduced than the cost of petrol and combustion vehicles. So let's see if we can go forward. And I think we were touching on vehicle to grid and vehicle to load just before. Like we said, the coffee machine up there has actually been running off that nice little orange EV4 out there. So enjoy your coffee when it comes up, because it's just goes to show how transportable the energy is. And they basically are big power banks on wheels. So when you think of it that way, they have multi-uses. I've mentioned before, I'm going to be picking up a vehicle from Brisbane. It's a Ford F-150 Lightning. It has 10 kilowatts of onboard power, so I could pretty well run a work site off of that if I need to, when I do need to, and then take it home and charge it up at home and come the next day. So I don't need any generators running or anything like that. So, quick question.
Yeah, just a point. With the recent floods in
Yes.
the Brisbane region, there have been running people medical support of EVs. So people have had whatever particular medical devices couldn't be, they're normally on a special electricity plan, so it's critical for life electricity.
Yep.
And those people didn't have the ability to maintain that critical electricity supply, but EVs were able to bridge that gap.
Yep. Yeah, so just to reply to that, so basically, what we were saying there was, yeah, basically with the cyclone that happened in Brisbane, we had a lot of EV owners, especially the ones with vehicle to home, able to run their essential services. There's heaps of reports on that on the media. So yeah, really positive thing about how we can go with this type of thing and not have to depend on generators that are going to still spew out pretty noxious fumes. And so yeah, that was a really good point. So the three things that we touched on earlier were the vehicle to load. So it's basically like we've done here, chucking the coffee machine off the thing, a pretty substantial load, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 watts. Vehicle to home, where we have really only 15 amps to play with, say, but that would be the essential services like keeping your fridge, your lights on, maybe not quite running an air conditioner, but certainly keeping the lights on for the home and the internet on for the kids. And then vehicle to grid. So vehicle to grid is going to be really interesting. I don't know whether, who's heard of vehicle to grid before? Hands up for a show of hands. Oh, cool. So you're probably interested in this. So this is where we get into the game where, you know, at the moment we have maybe house batteries and solar, a little bit of those, what they call a VPP, was where that energy from those batteries gets taken back and used as a buffer at the grid. The big battery in South Australia and the new batteries they're putting in just down the road here, halfway to Catherine, isn't it? That's going to be like a leveling battery to help with that sort of stuff, and they'll make money of that because the market will demand certain times when they'll need the energy, and when they have excess energy, they can take that energy really cheap and store it and sell it for later. So we're buying and selling. So now the vehicle to grid part of it is the normal householder can do that too. So we're actually getting in a bit of a market game here. We can actually make money out of this and pay your equipment off quicker. So not so big in the territory just yet, but they really are playing this game in the eastern states on the main grid. So something to keep your eyes out for. We do have some power and water guys here tonight, maybe. There you go. He might be explaining some more. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more of it. Yeah, he's knocking his head. So bi-directional, basically, get back to the simplicity part. We take power from the grid, hopefully when it's cheap, give power back to the grid when it's expensive, get supplemented for it. And that could be a market-driven thing. So, and it's a daily basis thing too. We have the duck curve, maybe some of you might have heard of that, but we'll get to that over a beer later on. So they're great to drive. So what we've found now with the battery technology and what's going on is that these things have got a bit of poke to them. And you know, obviously you're all here to relate to that because you probably would have seen something about these things killing V8s and stuff like that. But you know, we're getting to a thing where it's really easy to drive. They're pokey. They're going to do big Ks as the battery technology even gets better. The vehicle that I'm looking at's certainly got a 500k range. The new technology that's coming out, they're just spotting off about 1,000k range. Mate, my bladder wouldn't last that long. I'll tell you now. I'm sorry, you get over 50, you're blown, mate. It's gone. So you know, in reality, you know, you just got to have a thought about this sort of stuff. If you can get a break every 2 to 3 or 400 k's when you're doing the long range stuff, and I will be doing that. Next week, I'll be probably doing about 3,500 k's in this car, bringing it back from Brisbane. And yeah, it might take 3 days, it might take 4 days. And it's about the same as a normal vehicle, really. And you get good rest breaks, which is even better. So yeah, I mentioned about the technology. Solid state batteries seem to be the go for the latest technology. And so that you'll see that sort of name floating around. But there's actually plenty out there. There's a big drive towards the technology for EVs. The motor stuff, the engine stuff is pretty well done and dusted. I think they've got really good efficiencies out of that, you know, 95, 96% on the motors. So you can't really get much better than that without breaking the laws of physics. So I think it really just comes down to the battery technology, how cheaply they can get it. Yeah, and just making the componentry in Australia would be much to the liking. So particularly this vehicle that I'm getting has been adapted to Australian stuff for right-hand drive, for instance. So we're trying to keep some more jobs here in Australia and make it happen. Actually, we should talk about that too over a beer, but you know, the resources that we have in this country, and that should be, well, let's say politically mined or collected, we should say that it's there's a lot of stuff that's going out of the country that's not getting paid for, and Aussies are missing out on that. But I won't mention that right now. We'll leave it alone. So quick look on where we're actually looking at the moment. So all these green dots are actually what they've regarded as slow charges. So over the last, say, 10 years, ABA and other people have been using an app called PlugShare to highlight these sort of plugs. And this could be just a normal PowerPoint that's at someone's house that they're happy to share because they've got solar and they've got heaps of energy. Oh, yep, there you go. Joe's one and I'm one. Right up to, say, a 3-phase plug in a caravan park or someone's garage or you know, a mechanic's garage, so they can get the car close. So these are have evolved, and they're also what I call destination chargers. So you might go to a hotel, one of these things might be here, you plug and charge all night, and that might be included in the cost of the hotel room, hence free charging, right? But just like you'd like to get free Wi-Fi, that's what they're trying to aim for, to get your business. But then we can look at the red ones, and the red ones are what they call the DC fast chargers. They are more commercialised. These units can range from $5,000 to $150,000 to buy one of these DC fast chargers, which looks like something like that. These are the AC type ones. These are the DC type ones. And you can see there that we're actually getting all the major highways covered now. So lots actually happened over COVID time to get these up and running in the last few years, or certainly the last 5. So a quick idea of these guys. We can go from, say, 10 to 80% in about 15 minutes to half an hour. So that's getting a range of, say 200 to 300 Ks in about 15 minutes, which is way more than a normal day's work. Obviously, if you're doing long distance, that's when you're going to use these things more often. Most time, day to day, you're just going to be charging at home because it's convenient. You just do it at night time. So these guys are out there. These usually cost money. In fact, strange when they don't cost money. There is a few around that still are free. Eldunda, for instance, that's got a solar powered site. They're still running that as a free site at the moment. So if you're ever down my way, free energy from the sun. Funny about that. So we're still trying to obviously make this energy come from natural sources, but you know, in reality, there's still diesel generators out there and stuff. But even a diesel generator charging one of these cars is still way more efficient than actually having a diesel car, funnily enough. And there's been lots of stuff to prove that. So to give you an idea, so these fast chargers are growing and growing. In fact, even I think this map's a little bit old. There's certainly some more there in Central Australia. The Perth or the Western Australian government have done big guns around the corner there, but they're still having a few troubles with their maintenance, which is obviously always hard because they're trying to set up a new system. You can see in the eastern states that as the national grids got the supply there for them, it's much easier for them to set up these chargers. We have the tyranny of grid as the problem, or the lack of it, I should say. So that's why it's a bit of a challenge for us here in the territory. And our population, of course, that sort of holds us back. So really, yeah, different kinds of charger solutions, just really quickly, as I mentioned, the AC types, which can, you know, you have a car park and you might sit there most of the day. Then you have the DC one over in the right-hand corner and the top. That's one you'd be just sort of floating through within half an hour and you're probably going on to your next destination, which would be 200 to 300 kilometres away. There you go. That's a bit of a high down. They kind of look like service station pumps, funnily enough. That's how you'll kind of tell. The AC ones look like little things on the wall. So, pretty well that's it for now. Can take some quick questions, but we'll do a big question at the end if you think of something. Any questions right now?
If anybody has any questions,
So
hand up or
going once, going twice.
You're not getting away with that easy, mate.
I'm sure I won't. So yeah, on to the next one. Thank you very much. We're going to have Joe and Cheryl come up for a quick chat. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You can use the microphone, you can hold it if you want. Fine, I'll give you mine. Are both of you going to be talking at the same time? Okay. Just a wee bit about you guys. Joe Cruikshank from the Department of Infrastructure, Planning and Logistics, and also Cheryl Willoughby from NT Fleet. You're here to share the territory's electric vehicle strategy and public fleet direction. Please give a nice big round of applause.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm Jo Cruikshank and I work for the Department of Logistics and Infrastructure. And I'd just like to thank AEVA for inviting me to come along and talk today, and also congratulate AEVA NT on the establishment of their branch here. I'm just going to be talking quickly about how the NT government is supporting the uptake of EVs. And then I'm going to pass over to Cheryl, my colleague, who's going to talk about transitioning the NT fleet. So first of all, I am just going to give a bit of context in terms of NT and the challenges and opportunities in the territory. So there's very significant, as you would all know, transport challenges for the territory, and most of these are also challenges for EVs. We've got a small and widely dispersed population, vast distances. There's 36,000 kilometres of roads in the territory, and 75% of them are unsealed. There's climatic extremes and severe weather events, and the majority of our freight is transported by heavy-duty road trains, which are very hard to electrify. But on the other side, we've also got some great opportunities as well. Our urban centres are relatively compact, and we have short commutes. So on average, Territorians travel about 36 kilometres a day, so which is very achievable with EVs. We've also got high levels of multi-car ownership in the territory as well. So it's quite possible that you'll have, you can have an EV plus another vehicle for other purposes. And also, as people have said several times today, like plenty of opportunities for solar charging. So just in terms of NT government support for increasing the uptake of EVs, we've got reduced registration and stamp duty incentives. We're increasing the number of vehicles in the NT fleet, which then has the effect of more second-hand vehicles being available in the second-hand vehicle market. We've got grants for home and workplace EV chargers available. Planning for the power supply in the territory and looking at that charging through the middle of the day. Transitioning the NT bus fleet and providing consumer information. So how has that how has the implementation rolled out in the territory? When the EV strategy was introduced in 2021, there were 60 EVs in the territory, and there's now over 1,000, including 90 motorcycles, and a lot of those are the Australia Post motorbikes, which are there's a whole fleet of electric motorbikes. When in 2021 there were no passenger EVs in the NT government fleet. Now there's over 100, and there's 15 other types of restricted vehicle registrations, including small trucks and the 2 new electric trains that are at the Territory Wildlife Park. To support that, there's been over 140 charge points installed in NT government buildings. There's public charging in car parks has been installed in the State Square, at the Royal Darwin Hospital and Alice Springs Hospital. And there's, as we've seen already, there's urban fast charging at, in Mitchell Street, at Marara and Zuccoli. And then through the Australian government and the NRMA Driving the Future program, there's going to be 16 fast chargers installed on the Stewart, Barclay and Victoria highways. They should all be in place by the end of 2026. We've got 6 already, so the one at Adelaide River, Catherine, Manaranka, Tennant Creek, Anna Springs and Aldunda. Unfortunately, Aldunda charging, there's been some issues there, but there are some upgrades planned for this year. And we're seeing more commercial charging happening, like for example at Elliot and Ilara Airport, there's 6 chargers there. So slower than the eastern states, but the transition to EVs is happening in the NT. There's still some challenges. There is range anxiety. There's limited charging outside the urban areas for now. And still the cost and availability of cars is an issue. But if you're interested in more information, that's the website address. And yeah, we update the figures monthly on the number of EVs and registrations in the territory. And now I'll hand over to Carol.
Thanks everyone for having me. Great turnout. So NT Fleet's target of 200 EVs by 2030 is well on track. Currently sitting at 64% of that target, and something that we're pretty proud of. We're not been smashing that. We've been achieving through 20 EVs per year. We did see a flood in 2024 following the influx after COVID, which was great. We're looking at low usage vehicles to transition to the EV space, and that's converting our passenger fleet, the MTG passenger fleet, which is over 500 vehicles that we have potential to transition into the EV space. And we're working with government agencies and busing the driver education and promoting it with government agencies to transition their fleet. We've done that also through incentivising take-up and through competitive leasing options and extended lease terms as well. We do know that the price point for EV vehicles is slightly higher than ICE vehicles, and we need to make that competitive so that we can roll that out across the MTG. Range anxiety is another big challenge with EV adoption. We're seeing more models come onto the market now, especially with the importation tax and the policy in place and offset with carbon credits. So we will see more models come onto the market in 25, 26, and we hope to see a big uptake in that period and hopefully achieve our target ahead of time. We're hoping to achieve. Also, myth busting around, trickle charging and the use of GPO outlets rather than AC outlets or DC charging. So trying to educate our clients in that space. Infrastructure, we've been looking at infrastructure charging hubs. We have some clients on rotation in charging bays, and that seems to be working really well. We know that the infrastructure upgrades and future-proofing is quite costly. We've been looking through that, and the regulations and fire regulations in this space are changing really rapidly. So that has had an impact on our ability to provide vehicles and chargers in locations. So we're looking at other alternatives that we can provide charging hubs, other charging options for our clients to incentivize the uptake. I'd say the compliance is really interesting. There's only been about 6 fires in EV cars in Australia in around the last 10 years or so. And I think 3 of those were due to house fires. One of them was arson. There's another one that was an accident, and another one that was due to debris on the road. So just myth busting, that sort of stuff. There's more ice vehicle fires than EVs.
Thousands. Sorry, just to bring that up, it's a great mob in Victoria, evfiresafe.com, that do a lot of good work. Actually, firefighters in that state that actually look after these things. If everyone needs information about EV fires, yeah, they're definitely worth a look at. evfiresafe.com.
Yeah, so we are seeing a little bit of pushback from building owners around the infrastructure upgrades and that's around the insurance and that sort of thing. So, you know, that's ongoing maintenance and liability as well. So there is a challenge and we're meeting that head on and we're achieving our goals. So yeah, we've developed utilisation dashboards and those sorts of things to help promote it with our clients and we hope to achieve our targets ahead of time.
Excellent.
So, thank you. If you've got any further information, you can contact Joe or myself and reach out.
Thank you, Jill and Charlie. Thank you. You get it in, get 100 points. There you go. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank one of our sponsors as well today. This is Spartan Future. Can we get you to come over here and have a quick chat with me? Come on over here. Sorry, I didn't grab your first name. What's your first name? Zachariah. It's a cool name. Grab this microphone. So, is that a new brand to the Northern Territory?
Yes, it is.
That's close.
Yeah.
That's
We
good.
started this company a couple of years ago. And we do electric vehicle conversions here in Darwin. We've got a few examples of what we've done. And we also build these electric kit-sized quads as well.
Cool. So is there much demand for it that you find since you've been here?
Look, there's not really, no. We're doing a dingo conversion to electric at the moment. A unique job in Alice Springs. We've done a electric party bus here in Darwin, and that's going to be on the road very soon, and you're going to hear about it. It's like this beer party bus for tourism here in the territory. And in the meantime, we do like, you know, electric motorbike conversions, get those on the road, and we build these electric quads. Not too much demand for the conversion side of things. So yeah. I'm hoping, yeah, maybe like big fleets to be converted, something like that.
Fantastic. The party bus, tell me more about that. Can people hire it out for the weekends?
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been promoted as of now, but you're going to hear about it. Carrie is the lady behind it all. And yeah, like it's just a beer party bus, go around Darwin, you know, book it out, have sessions throughout the day. That's about it.
Yep.
Great, fantastic. And people can come, you're going to be here for the next one until
Yeah.
the event's finished.
Yeah, you can come by, check out what we've done. And, yeah, ask us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Spartan Future. By the way, you don't have to wait for the until we're going to do mix and mingling in about 20 minutes. Just at any stage, please go and help yourselves to a red wine, a white wine, a soft drink, or a water. Next of all, please welcome the General Manager of Operations at AANT. This is Eden Bell. Whereabouts is Eden? Here he comes. Please give a nice big round of applause as he comes out. We get use this fan. Put the on the screen. Also, thank you to the guys for our amazing setup today. I don't know what they're using all these satellite dishes. Whenever I was growing up, we had satellite dishes to watch TV. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But now it's all Wi-Fi. So big thank you to DTEX. If you know anybody who lives in a rural location and they want fast Wi-Fi, these guys can come out, give you a quote, and it's a bespoke quote, and they can get you Wi-Fi at your location right across the NT. dtex.com.au. There you go. And you can get in touch with the guys. Speak to Oshada here today. Beautiful. So Eden Bell, General Manager, you're like top dog of operations, aren't you, at AANT?
There's only me, so
You do several
we have
jobs.
CEO, right? So we're a small team here, but
Fantastic. We'll hand it
a
over
lot
to
of
you
area to cover.
to talk more about EV support services available to drivers and members right across the Northern Territory. Please welcome Mr. Eden Bell.
Oh yeah, just look at the screen.
G'day everyone, and thanks to AEVA for allowing ANT to come along today and have a quick chat. We're a long-standing territory association, currently over 20,000 members, more if you want to count some of our commercial clients, but formed in 1963. We're a small team. I guess, when we look at our standing in relation to our reciprocal clubs interstate, we're we're a small organisation or an association compared to the giants. And so we do have the benefit of leveraging the scale and the expertise that comes from the other clubs to help deliver on the services and across the vast area. I mean, 1.3 square million kilometres at the NT, and we've got a lot of ground to cover, and a lot of people rely on us to come out and get them out of a pickle when they've broken down. 20,000 members, I've mentioned that. We perform anywhere between 16 to 18,000 roadside assistance services throughout the year. We definitely have a significant peak through that dry season, and all of those caravanners come flooding in, and of those numbers, I'm talking around about 35% of those are interstate club members that we service, but the bulk of that is concentrated through that, I guess, the around about May through to August, September, and we catch them on the way back out again as they all head south down the track. And you know, we take pride in our position of delivering 85% go rate. So, you know, we don't aim to go out and just tow. Well, that might be a different story when we're looking at some of our more remote services. Our primary aim is to go out and get them off the side of the road. So that's a little bit about AANT. I think we're not only just about road service, we are an advocate, and we are, as clubs, associations across Australia, faced with these new technologies, and how do we deliver on providing those services, and particularly with the EV evolution that has some challenges with us. But the current trends, you know, it reflects a dynamic and evolving sentiment towards EVs. I think you'll talk to two different people, you even talk to our board, and you'll have one who's still completely opposed to the thought of an EV, but others are very supportive of the EV. Interesting dynamic that we work in. You know, we're seeing modest growth of EVs here. I think it was mentioned in the last presentation, there's over 1,000 registered vehicles. We've got quite a number of our members who drive EVs, and I guess as an association, we've got to keep pace and ensure that we're able to deliver a service to those needs. The charging network is continuing to expand, as we've seen in those presentations, but range anxiety is certainly a key issue. And we hear it all day, every day. It's also interesting to note that traditional manufacturer brands are really under pressure at the moment with the emergence of EV technology. And so it's going to be an interesting space to watch over the next few years as these brands grow in the market. Just to give you an example of the emerging brand from China, you can see there, quite a number, and there's new brands entering into the market real soon, right? So that's just talking about the Chinese market. And I think given the situation overseas, I'm not going to get too political around that, but you know, with the current trade wars going on, I think what we're going to find here in Australia, it's going to be an attractive proposition for the Chinese market to come and deliver. I know we don't have, I mean, we've got our traditional brands here, but I think you're going to start to see some more of this stuff on the road. And I know that a brand here in particular, I understand, will be bringing a branch to the Northern Territory. It's going to really see some competition against the Teslas, as they've been the dominant player in the market over a period of time. Our guys on the road, we have to, as an association, keep pace with this technology development, the training requirements that come with it, making sure our guys on the side of the road are trained and understand how to deal with an EV when they get there. It's not the same as turning up to the traditional ICE car. They don't come along and pour petrol in anymore, but I'll talk about that in a moment. One of the other challenges we have, in fact, is a lot of these electric vehicles, and it's not just EVs, there are other vehicles, but they don't come with spare wheels anymore. And so how do you deal with that? You get a flat tire. Normally, I think I mentioned, we try and get people going 85% of the time. So when you're out there on the side of the road looking to provide a service, how do you manage that? And so there are products that are available. We've seen these freewheeling hubs that can be applied, but then you've got the logistic of you'll sit there on the car, then keep the member going. but they've just driven off with your piece of road service equipment. So you've got to follow them down the road, you know, they've got to get that returned back to us in association. So we've had some mixed results across the clubs in trialing some of these technologies, or I guess in particular these third or spare wheels, but I don't think that's going to be the answer going forward at this stage. It just, the logistics of it are currently a bit too challenging. And of course, EV batteries out of charge will pose some challenges. Now, I think for most part, you know, you talk to most EV owners. I recently joined that that team, and I think you're heavily invested in that technology space. So I don't envisage I'm going to run out of battery charge, but I tell you what, we've already had a couple, so we've had to deal with that. We've had one in a hard to access location, and so that was near on impossible to get. Well, not near on impossible, it was impossible. It was under the Casuarina shopping centre car park, and you cannot back a tow truck or a tilt tray into that situation to recover them out of there and take them to a place where they can charge. So these are the things that we're faced with. We've got our workforce who are undertaking some national training at the moment, and so at least giving them some skills in that space to be able to deal with these cars when they get to them. So about the range anxiety. So we, you know, despite the average daily commute falling well within the capability of an EV vehicle, you know, it's still a barrier for consumers. So, you know, I went and bought the cheapest EV I could get my hands on. I wasn't caring about range, yet I can still charge that car up and drive it all week. I live out Palmerston, I drive to the city and return, and I've still got battery left at the end of the week. And, you know, I'm saving myself, well, haven't done the full maths yet, but at least somewhere in about the $300 mark in fuel every month. I've got the solar panels on the roof, charge it up on Saturday and Sunday when the sun's shining. It just makes sense, but I don't know. I'm not sure what it is about this range anxiety piece, but I'm sure we'll get there. It's just like anything new. People need to adapt and get comfortable with that thought of, you know, it's just a different way of thinking, right? It's a different technology. You know, we've invested in a mobile roadside charging van. And so we've got a modular design that slides straight in the back. And look, granted, it's a petrol-driven vehicle, but I guess in this early stage, we have to consider the cost of it. We need to, you know, we're not certainly looking to get a return on this investment, but I guess in order to try and bring some comfort to our members and more broadly the motoring community, that we've got a solution should you find yourself in a situation. Now, this van actually went in and underneath the car park and was able to deliver a charge to a vehicle that was actually stuck there without able to move because they had no battery charge left. And so it's a practical solution. I would suggest I'll probably count on my one hand how many times we might utilise this van over the course of a year. I don't think it's going to be highly utilised, but it's not purely for bringing a charge solution to the run out or flat battery. It does serve a purpose of delivering services to other vehicles as well. And so that was on the road. I think it was in around October, give or take, that we put this on the road. We've had some negativity come our way around why are you using a petrol-driven vehicle or diesel? I think it is to go and charge a car, but you know, it's just the reality of what we're dealing with. I think I mean, we see this as a short-term solution, short to medium term in the next few years. You've heard about the vehicle to load or vehicle to vehicle. I think in a future, I guess, iteration, we'll likely just have an EV. I think the F-150 truck, I reckon, it's got the capability just to run a plug from one vehicle straight into the next, and it will achieve the same outcome. But for this point, I know our sister clubs in the state are running fleets of EV vans out there at the moment. But again, when you're talking big scale, they've got the budgets to run this. From ANT's perspective, we just want to be able to fill that void for the short term.
What's the battery capacity in that van? How much charge can it deliver on vehicle?
Good question.
Are using
I didn't list it here, sorry, but it's around about, I think it's about a 5,000
5 kilowatt hour.
5 kilowatt battery, I think. Sorry, don't ask me too many technical. What I can tell you is what I've listed here. So
It's basically
just
a
bit of
jerry
view.
can.
It's effectively a lithium-ion battery. You know, it delivers a consistent power output. Got an inverter bolted into the back. Lots of safety protection. We don't want our techs getting zapped on the side of the road. Not a good outcome if that occurs. And look, effectively, it can deliver up to 30 kilometres of drive distance if need be. But for most part, if we look at the current network of chargers, you know, allow 15 minutes, we'll have you 10, 15 kilometres in, you'll well and truly be within range of getting yourself either home to where your home charger is sitting or to a public charger where you can top up your battery.
Yeah.
Correct.
And let's face it, on an ICE engine, you wouldn't have any more than a jerry can you'd give them anyway, would you? If they're
Correct. Yeah, we carry fuel to vehicle if they need it. I think one thing I didn't touch on is the, you know, we're talking purely about an EV here. Somewhere in the middle ground, I talked about the take up of EV here, we're over 1,000 registrations, but I think plug-in hybrids have been or overtaken the EV space for a period, but I think that's in part driven by the government incentives that bring some good tax benefits if you're going through a novated lease type arrangement. I believe that is actually winding up as of the end of next week. So if you haven't had a vehicle delivered at that point, you won't have it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the take up of the EV once we shift from the current incentive of plug-in and then purely the battery electric vehicle from there. So look, it's a good piece of tech. We're not there to solve the world. It's just another piece of the puzzle, and the main objective here is to just bring some assurance to people on the road if they're worried about running out of charge. I think those concerns are not founded. So yeah. Questions? Lovely shot of the NT there. Paul Arnold shot. But,
what it looked like today when I was coming in.
I was going to say probably not too far off with the limited monsoon activity we're getting. Thanks, everyone.
All right, good job.
Thank you, Lee. Stephen Bell, General Manager of Operations AENT. Very soon we'll have a bit of a chat about this beautiful engine here to my left-hand side. This is owned by Dan Deleur. So we'll have a chat about that. So you've got 5 minutes to prep, okay? We'll have a quick chat where you can give me a bit of a heads up. But right now for our to close our formal presentations today, we're going to welcome up Scott Canahan. Is it Calhallen? Because usually like grab yourself this microphone, mate. Callahan, is that right? Is that how you pronounce it? Callahan. He's the Deputy Chief Executive for Trades and Primary Industries at Charles Darwin University. So you're going to share how the university is playing a pivotal role in supporting the EV transition here in the territory. So feel free to, you want to grab your microphone using your hand, or you can do it. Please welcome Scott from CDU.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Excellent. Ricky opened up with maybe potentially speaking too fast. I'm an electrician, so if I speak really slowly, tell me to hurry up. If there's anything outside a pair of pliers, 3 wires and a screwdriver, I tend to struggle at times. Now look, I really do have to apologise for this. However, an electric vehicle and a dump truck roll into a pub. The barman says, this looks like it's going to be a highly charged conversation. The electric vehicle replies, I'm going to try and keep positive. The dump truck says, I'm just here to unload. So I did have to apologise for that. But no, that's right. My position is the Deputy Chief Executive for Trades and Primary Industries. It's a very diverse portfolio. I reckon I've got the best job in the CDU.
Thanks for coming back today.
Sorry, guys. That was my bad. That's his fault. We'll start that again.
I'm in preparation, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go
like
for
I'm saying, the best job here at CBU, except I have to work for a plumber.
Yeah.
And so, but no, Sparkies and plumbers, we can get along. But like I was saying, a very diverse portfolio where I take care of all the trades, but also primary industries.
Oh.
So that means I can be here tonight speaking about electric vehicles, what we can do to help in that space and to train in that space. But then tomorrow I might be signing off to go and buy 2 more decators for our snake handling accreditation course. So very, very diverse. But it is all about electric vehicles tonight and our automotive industry and how we're going to support that. So since taking over on this position, we have signed an industry reference group with local industry and also with our friends at Motor Traders Association. So that there's just a bit of a reference group so we can all get together, be on the same page, and have a collaborative approach to ensure that at the end of the day, the training that we provide is what industry needs and to be able to service you guys at the end of the day, being electric vehicle owners, to ensure that the technicians that Ian was talking about earlier, they are trained and they're not going to get themselves exactly on the side of their own. So like I said, they're a very collaborative approach with industry and also with the Motor Traders Association. The beauty of being such a diverse portfolio and also with the training we deliver here at CBU, to go to come into this space with this emerging technology is personal development for our staff. And we do have redundancies built in to other contracts where we train in this space. And part of those redundancies is including personal development for our staff. And one of those ones at the moment is being with Toyota, being able to fly to Adelaide and train with Toyota technicians there. So just to make sure that us as an RTO, we're being reactive to the needs of the supply, of the consumer, and also that we're investing in our staff to ensure that the product that we are delivering is of the highest quality. Now, speaking of the highest quality, I've got a couple of lecturers here tonight. I've got Mr. Ryan Miller to my left here. He's just been appointed as the operational manager, team leader for automotive and civil, an absolute wealth of experience. So please, if you have any questions, please talk to Ryan. And I've also got our panel and paint lecturer over here, Alan. Again, another person with a wealth of experience within their individual trades. Because this is a multifaceted EV here. It runs across multiple disciplines, obviously automotive, but also panel and paint, and even to our electro technology and our Sparkies being able to put in place an infrastructure along the Shield Highway that was referred to earlier. So again, it may just look like you're buying an electric vehicle, but there's all this going on behind the scenes to ensure that when you take it in for a service or you do have issues with it, that the local industry is best equipped to be able to deal with emerging technology within your vehicles. In saying that, I reckon this electric motor over here is probably more interesting than what I can tell you. So we're probably better off jumping into that. However, I'm available for the rest of the night. So if you have any questions about your electric vehicles, our training, all the cows being primary industries, come and have a yarn and have a beer and talk then. Thanks very much for your attendance.
Thank you, Scott. Right, before we wrap up with our formal, we're going to grab that microphone. Could you get that microphone to this young fella over here? Great. So tell me, Dan, quickly tell us a wee quick summary about yourself and your introduction into EVs.
I'm a plumber, so join me along.
The bar is only open for half an hour, okay? So heads up.
Right. Anyway, Hunter, if I could get you to set up the
Yep.
YouTube channel. I really apologise for that spike in doing your presentation as well. But really quickly, the motor you see over here is a drive unit out of a 2013 Model S. Tesla, that is. It's a 400 kilowatt capability if the battery can provide that. And it's normally made for a rear-wheel drive vehicle. I'm putting that into a hot rod, which you can kind of see.
Okay.
You just go back on there.
Go back. Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
Hang on.
It's all impromptu, so no problem. But basically, I'm turning a Suzuki Cappuccino into a
independently constructed vehicle. So I'm turning something that was 700 kilos wet into a 400 kilowatt street car. It should be a bit nuts. And you can kind of see it at the top of that page there.
There we go.
I've got a couple of videos I've made already on YouTube if you wanted to look up more about it. Get it back a little bit to the left there, Hunter.
There?
Yeah, but just don't sound.
Yeah, yeah, it sounded off. Only to yourself, mate.
Okay. But as you can see in the background there, that's actually how it's kind of sitting at the moment. And I'm actually sculpting the whole thing from pretty much nothing, making a modern day rat rod. Something like that is the end result. I got into electric vehicles basically because I hate maintenance of vehicles and these things are stupidly fast. Yes, they're good for the environment, etc. But I like to go faster. These things I shouldn't in vehicles. And this is the way to do that. And so testing mega factories, and that looked a lot better than what I was going to put in it. So I ordered one from America, and there it is. Any more questions come through?
Yeah, you mentioned about having fast. I've only had my AEVs for about a year now. Super fast. It's sometimes easy to go too fast, and you don't realize you have that problem as well.
Yeah, it's been fun. But even my wife has that problem as well. And to mention AET, we've actually got a EV, the EQV 250 Plus that we have salary sacrificed through AET. So bit of a plug there for you as well. We'll connect it to everyone. But yeah, it's a fantastic vehicle as well. It's a big Luxo barge that used to originally based on the GLB platform, which is a petrol or diesel.
What the heck is on the screen? Did anybody see that? Sorry, Dan, what you were saying is super important, but that just got my attention. I don't know what it was.
My videos are somewhat entertaining, even though I think they're funny. But anyway, feel free to check that out on Project Distraction if you can choose to have a look. Project Distraction. And the reason that is because this project has been going for way too long. And I'm very distracted by a lot of other things. But anyway, it started out like that, and it will turn into a hot rod eventually. Look, I could talk all night, but
it's a labor of love.
It's a labor of look at it and maybe have something on it one day. But yeah, so thanks, Hunter.
That's right, mate.
You say you had your own YouTube channel because I really want to check it out.
Yeah, Project Distraction.
Project Distraction. Okay.
The vehicle itself, starting out as cappuccino, is now called shortback. Now called short black. Excuse the pun. Electrical short and obviously short black. A bit more punch, a little bit less weight. But yeah, something like that is the digital render I had done it quite some time ago. And yeah, check out the YouTube channel.
Fantastic. If anybody has any questions, you can come see Dan directly or put your hand up now and we'll really embarrass you.
I'll have a good chat. So go for it.
Perfect. By the way, this will also, it is being streamed on YouTube, I believe. So if you type in NT Electric Vehicle Association, you can probably catch it. Probably going to upload it tonight, if not tomorrow. So check it out. Dan, thank you very much indeed, mate. Thank you. Big cheer for Dan Deleur. Thank you, Dan. Are you talking here?
Just rescuing the mic, but just to say, this is actually AVA's roots here. This is what we've been doing since 1973. Initially, it was to do with the fuel crisis. Some of us are old enough to know what that was back then. So, you know, if you actually think about what Dan's doing, he's actually the blood water of AVA. It's obviously evolved, so is the industry, but this is what we're all about. And I'm sure you guys hear about us before we started converting vehicles. No. So since 73, we've been doing this. So corporate member coming up right here. Hopefully we'll join in pretty shortly and we'll get you some more customers.
Fantastic. Right. Now it's time to mix and mingle. Please do feel free. If there's anybody you want to have a chat to, now's a good time to do so. Make sure you introduce yourselves, help yourselves to some drinks and canopies, and take this opportunity to connect with fellow EV enthusiasts, speakers, advocates, and guests. We will reconvene here. What time is it now? 5:30. We'll reconvene in about 25 minutes, just before 6 o'clock to formally wrap things up. But right now, please help yourselves to some drink and some food. Back in about 20 minutes.
I'm pretty sure none of your footage made it. So what have you guys?